5:34 now at your station of choice morning to you. If at all you just tuned in, of course, with you almost the hour of 6 a.m. for now. We jump right on to Empowering Your Vision with Mr. Makwana. He's actually on the line. Mr. Makwana, good morning.
Hi, Zandela. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. Hope you're good too.
I am great. I cannot complain. And thank you so much for doing this. We learn a lot from you, and you continue to inspire someone who looks up to you. So continue doing the great job.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Mr. Makwana, do your thing.
All right, let's take a prayer before we start. Father, we thank you for this morning. We are here because you still have an assignment to do through us. We are a vessel of grace and a vessel of blessings. And today, as we wake up, we are making an intentional decision that we shall walk by faith and not by sight, that we shall continue to do and dare the impossible, that we know that our nation and our country at large depends on our value, and we are going to do such. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're talking relationship building attitude.
Yeah, we're talking about relationship building attitude. And I realized that, yes, we have talked about characters, mostly characteristics on personal development, on developing ourselves and becoming the right people for opportunities. Now, let us look at now having the relationship with other people. We know, yes, of course, and our dear listeners know by now that the relationship the first one that we have is with yourself, being able to have a good relationship with yourself. And I think last year we touched something about that, the relationship with yourself. We talked about avoiding the issues of self-sabotage, avoiding the issues of, bringing yourself down. And today, let us talk about the attitude of building relationship with other people. There's a presentation that I watched a few months ago. Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, was talking about wealth. And one of the wealth key elements, he talked about relationship wealth, having the wealth to be able to relate with other people. He called it that every time, hello, Rowena, you are the only person alone wrong. You're the only person alone. He said you have a sickness in your relationship. He called it a sickness because most of us today, we know we could be so far. We could be making certain moves. But because there are certain people who are not in our lives, we are not able to make such. And today, we are thankful that God brought that to my spirit, that we should talk about an attitude to build relationships. The first part, I like to call, we are here for each other. We are all here for each other, and we need each other. No matter how much we may be pissed off, no matter how much we may be let down, we still need other people to advance and to grow in our lives. That is the truth that I want all of us to embrace. No matter how much circumstances has put us to the edge of giving up, the edge of closing doors and closing the world outside of us, we need each other today and forever. So that is what I want to really talk about. So Zandile, you can read for us our thought of the day today right there.
All right, thought of the day, it reads as people are like doors. They can introduce you to unlimited opportunities.
Yes. People are like doors, and they can introduce you to unlimited opportunities. This is one of the statements that I've written in my recent book, Team Building Guide for Workplace Effectiveness. And I said, every day we are building teams. Every day when we connect with people, we are building teams, whether we like it or not. So this part of relationship building, Zandile, I want to talk to it about in relations to personal relationships and also on professional relationships. On a day-to-day life, we deal with people, and people are emotional beings, and people have certain attitude. People have certain elements that we like or may not like about them, but that's just who they are. But we need to learn, how best then do we relate? How best then do we connect with other people? How best then do we cultivate effective, empowering relationship, effective, symbiotic relationships? Because there are various, types of relationships. We have parasitic relationship and we have symbiotic relationship. Parasitic relationship is when, two people or two organisms, one is benefiting from the other, but the other is not being able to benefit. Every single day, someone is sucking your energy, sucking your resources, sucking everything else that you try to build because they are not willing to create any value to add in any relationships. And then the other opposite kind of relationship, we are talking about symbiotic relationship. Two organisms, in this case, two people, they benefit from each other. They are there for each other. Relationship so this is a symbiotic relationship. We all benefit from each other. So that is something that got into my spirit to talk about and to clarify that we can decide any time of the day. And today is an opportunity for those who are listening that you might say, I just want to choose a certain kind of relationship, and this is what I go for. But in that element, always remember this. People are like doors. People are like doors, and they can introduce you to unlimited opportunities. And therefore, you putting that in a frame of mind, be mindful that today you can open a door of unlimited opportunities only just by introducing yourself to someone who don't know you today, only by introducing to someone that you are going to meet over coffee today, only by introducing to someone that you are going to meet on the street today. You can introduce yourself to unlimited opportunities by introducing yourself to someone today. So that is the element that I want you to grasp in your mind today as you are listening, our dear listeners, as we go through these 4 key points. And how do we build an attitude, to build effective and empowering relationships? We can go to our first point this morning.
All right. That one says identify and audit your value within your circle and the people you meet.
Yes. Always, Zandile, when you go in any kind of relationships, professional or meeting people, business-wise, any kind of relationship, always identify your value and audit your value. What do these people need from me? Why are you contacting me today? Why are we talking every day? What is it that you need? Maybe I'm not the right person to provide what you really need. And sometimes because we are not on the forefront in telling people the kind of value we need from them, then we end up settling. We end up giving our all, going an extra mile. Sooner or later, 3 months down the line, a year down the line, we say people have used us. We say people have not met your expectations. Have you communicated your expectations in advance on our first call? What do you want in my life? What exactly, how would you like me to help you? Because sometimes we go into relationships, professional or personal, Zandile, and then we are not introducing what really we want from the relationship and what we are going to put in and what the next person is willing to put in. As soon as we put everything to the table, we eliminate uncommunicated expectations. Now, we are all on the same board. We are all on the same boat. We are pulling the ropes to the same direction. But some people, Zandile, today, as I speak right now, there are people right now establishing a relationship, and they are establishing it and they have not even audited, identified, what is it that what is it I expect Zandile to do as well. And now we end up having people who are bitter every single day today. Someone is bitter because they feel that their expectation has not been met. Their needs have not been met. Only that they have not communicated them in advance. I want to share this with you, our listeners, this morning. You are not forced to be in any kind of relationship. You are not forced. And once you understand that the relationship is about embracing each other, about understanding each other, about asking yourself this intentional question: when I go into someone's life today, what am I going to add? What am I going to help them with? What do they need from me? What exactly do I need to place on the table? What value am I going to create? What information do I need to bring on board? What resources am I willing to let go to allow someone to come into my space? Once we are intentional about that, we become intentional in building relationships. We don't just fall in relationships. We intentionally create relationships. So I want us to identify that. You sitting at home right now, as you are thinking about people you want to meet, as you are thinking about the network you want to create, ask yourself the question: what value am I going to create? Audit yourself, audit your characteristics, audit your values. Look at your principles that has been guiding your life from where the time you were born to right now. What principles are you willing to let go to make sure that this relationship grows? What values are you willing to compromise to make sure that this relationship becomes fruitful? What kind of attitude are you willing to let go to make sure that this relationship is going to be founded on love, kindness, and connection? What are you willing to let go? What value are you willing to create to make sure that the relationship works? Because some people today, they know what they expect from other people, but they don't know what they expect from themselves. And now they abuse the next person because for themselves, they don't see any value they need to play to making sure that this relationship with their boss works, this relationship with their managers works, this relationship with their colleagues works, and this relationship with their personal person works. What value are you willing to infuse in any relationships you come into? Don't just be there for the sake of being there. Be intentional on what you really want to build. And that's how we are going to see beautiful relationships springing up. Beautiful relationship with no hidden agendas being able to be put to the forefront. So that's just what I'm challenging our dear listeners to do today with our attitude to build relationships. Please do identify what value you're going to create and audit yourself. What kind of person do I need to become before I go in this kind of relationship? What expectations do I need to communicate before I go into this relationship? That is very crucial, and that's our first point today on building effective relationships, relationship building attitude.
All right. Second point says reflect on your consciousness biases in a consistent manner.
Yeah, reflect on your consciousness biasness in a consistent manner. When we grow up, Zandile, the most people that we learn from our parents or our guardians or the people we grow around, and those people, they model the kind of life we might want to lead and the kind of life we might not want to lead. And most people today, the relationships they are in is biased from what they have been exposed to on a younger age, on a consistent information consumption on digital platform or the people they surround themselves with. Most people who are friends, if you look at them closely, their relationship problems are the same. Most people who are friends or connected, or mostly they consume information in a certain platform, their relationship issues and their relationship beautiful moments are more like the same, because human beings, we learn by observing, and relationships is something you observe. It's something you learn by seeing how people treat each other, how people show up for each other, how people compromise, whatever they need to compromise to make a relationship effective. We learn from that. We inherit from those that we learn from. And therefore, with that kind of learning, Zandile, there is a certain kind of biasness that we inherit as well. Oh, men are like this. Oh, women are like this. If you could have paid attention, Zandile, in Father's Day, you know what I've seen? I've seen most of the posts from people who were saying, Happy Father's Day to single mothers. What biasness have we been inherited from? When we think about Father's Day, what happened to you that made you to think that Father's Day we are talking about mothers? This is the biasness we just inherit without even seeing. When I can't tell health or posted because people are posting that. That is the biasness consciousness that every single day our relationships are growing or getting worse because of what we surround ourselves with. Therefore, we carry with our mind wherever we go. Oh, people are like this. If they do this for the first year, know that this is what's going to happen. He said you want to propose, you just met a month ago, this is what is going to happen. I know people like that. We end up going around not with love and caring, embracing each other, but we go with defensive mechanism. We go being ready to leave at any moment. We go into relationship, and already before we go into relationship, we are planning of how we are going to exist from that relationship, because our consciousness, biasness says people don't come to stay. People, they come, they move. People come with hidden agendas. People have something that they are going to do. If you see them do this, it means this. Now, we have framed certain facts, little facts in our mind about how people behave and how they should behave when they are in relationship. That is consciousness biasness. But is your consciousness biasness rooted on love, caring, kindness, going an extra mile, compromising for the next person? Or your biasness is rooted on, if they do 1, 2, I do 1, 2. If they let me down once, it's the red flag, I'm gone. What have you been biased to with regards to building relationships? Are you building relationships from a clear consciousness, or you still have some certain things that you have to deal with yourself before you can build relationships? Because now you become the toxic one. And toxic people don't see that they are toxic. Every day they think people are wrong. Why? Because they have a script in their head that says relationship should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they don't see a 4, if they don't see a 1, oh, I'm gone. What have you been biased to? That has destroyed relationships that you are in. That has destroyed the connections you try to build with important people in your life. Now your life is stuck. All other aspects of your life are stuck because you are not willing to let go of the script that you have in your mind that certain things has to be in a certain way. I'm not talking about letting go of your principles and values. I'm talking about letting go of your biasness that you have inherited without even seeing that you are inheriting it. So we can blame our circumstances. We can blame our environment with regards to how we view relationship. We can blame our parents on how they have portrayed love for us and relationship for us. But at some point, you need to take responsibility and say, there's a certain level of script that I've, connected to. There's a certain level of script that I have in my mind, and I'm willing to let go for the sake of me having better relationships with people that I work with.
All right. Let's go to the third point, Mr. Makwana. It says acquire a diversity-driven attitude in your relationship building.
Yeah, acquire a diversity-driven attitude in your relationship building. It's okay to want to build relationship with people that we know. It's okay to want to build relationship only with people who come from our clan. And it's okay to want to build relationship with people who only come from your own country. But what does it benefit us? What difference does it make? What is something new that we learn from them? Is there anything new that we learn from them? Is there anything new that we get to understand in a good way, in a new way of looking at our lives? So most of the time we are stuck where we are because all the people that we have in our relationships, there are people who come from our same scenario. There are people we can cry with. There are people who really understand that, oh, it's tough. There are people who understand that life is really hard. There are people who understand that there's no money, They understand. If you don't understand, then where do you come from? And therefore, now we are stuck in this kind of attitude that we can settle for whatever is given to us because people around us, they have settled for it. And therefore, now we are not willing to try anything new. We're not willing to implement anything new. We're not willing to do something. We're not willing to challenge the status quo. We're not willing to challenge the way we are led. We're not willing to challenge the way businesses are run. And we're not willing to challenge abusive bosses at our workplaces because everyone around us, has accepted that. And therefore, there is no diversity of thought. And what ends up happening that we build relationships with only people who are similar to us. In my book, I talked about homogeneous teams. These are teams which are same with attitude, mindset, knowledge, and experiences. And I also talk about heterogeneous relationships. These are relationships where people are different, maybe by race, maybe by relation, maybe by attitude, maybe by mindset. And those people, no matter how much they disagree because they are different, but that disagreement moves them forward to improve. And therefore, we may say, oh, I like them because we have something similar. But then what new thing are we going to bring to our kids if we are similar? We're just like twins now, so our relationship means nothing. But if you bring something different to the table, I can start thinking differently. And difference is good today in an ever-changing environment. So I want us to reflect on the way we approach, because if we want to bring similar people in the relationship we build, then this is what it means. We are going to have knowledge gap. We are going to have knowledge gap. Then there are certain things we are going to miss. Because all of us, when I say something, it's a yes, say yes, madam kind of relationship. And therefore, ask yourself a question, what am I missing today because of just putting same people around me? What am I missing with regard to information because of putting certain people around me? And then what end up happening also when we want to build relationships with the people that we know, we end up having perspective gap. Perspective gap. Same is boring and different is good. So perspective gap is that because you view life the same way you view it, I view it Vandile. So when we are in a relationship, there is no one who is going to correct us because I see things this way, you see things the same way. So no one of us is going to be willing to take us out of the fire. People what about living about here. Relationship you're going to make. But the thing is, because we are same, we have we are lacking now, we are bridging now perspective gap. And the other thing that happens when we only want to build relationship with people that we know is that we end up having experience gap. Experience gap. Experience is the best teacher. But if you and I have the same kind of experience, then nothing new is going to come out unless one of us is willing to say, hey, I am willing to do things differently and better. And therefore, relationships are not hard, but what's hard is our attitude towards building them. Why do we want to build relationship with certain people of certain race and ethnicity? And once we put that into perspective, yes, now we start building diverse relationships which are willing to help us in times of trouble. So that is what I want to talk about, acquiring a diversity-driven attitude when it comes to building relationships. Same is good but boring. Different is good because it exposes you. So every single day we can learn new things and diversify our relationships. We can go to our last point, Zande.
Right. The last point says value personal growth. When you don't grow, others who grow will intimidate you.
That is very true, especially in our country. When you don't grow, other people who grow will intimidate you. You view that growth as an attack to you. So you must be mindful that in any kind of relationship, Zandile, whatever we have taught each other in the first years, first month, it stays in our mind. And when we see people start doing something different, we are challenged to do different. That's why we end up saying, hey, you have changed. And now in our country, in our culture, when people say you have changed, they don't mean the good thing because they are not willing to move with you. Now they think you should remain with them in the way they think so that things are good. And that is not the truth. So now value personal growth when you build any relationship because people keep changing. The way you have been doing things with your personal person, your boss, your managers, your colleagues, should change over time. And if you are not changing, you view those who are changing as attacking you. You view other people's growth as a point of them wanting to take what belongs to you. But no one is forcing you to be where you are, and no one is forcing you to remain the person you were yesterday. Therefore, people, as they grow, they are going to leave you whether you like it or not. Because as you grow, people who complain, always blaming, is a toxic to your growth. So you end up moving to those who are not complaining. So without even liking it or not, as people grow, the way they think and the way they see things, they start looking for the people who think the same way so that they are not foreign in their country. They start looking for people who are thinking the way they think. Then guess what? If you're not growing, they will leave you to find other people. So every day we should be growing. We should be intentional in developing ourselves. No one is forcing you to become the person you were yesterday. That's a statement that I want to reiterate. No one is forcing you to become the person you were yesterday. Today, you can decide that I'm Mompoloki Makwana. I'm going to start an aeroplane business. I can decide that today I'm going to start a multi-chain store across our country and our region. I can decide because I'm not a tree. I can move. I'm not fixed. I can move. I'm not rooted with the roots. I have legs that can move to different places. So every day, relationship building should be the same attitude. My name is Mompoloki Makwana from Malaladau. My number, if you need copies of my book, Team Building Guide for Workplace Effectiveness, or What Amazing Employees Do, you can call me at 74776196, 74776196. And I can see some comments here from people who are tuning in this morning, already on our Wise Words coach. And then I can see Onalin Nale, and she shared something that this is a great show. Thank you so much, Andile, for hosting me. Let's keep inspiring and empowering lives one day at a time. We are making a difference, and you should know that by now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makwana. Appreciate each and every Tuesday I get to talk to you. I'll talk to you again next Tuesday.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, bye.